Hello, Deanna. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Isa. Nice to meet you too.
So we're both laughing because we've had several little misstarts on getting our technology together here, but that's okay because I'm really new using this technology. And I'm noticing a lot of us are kind of catching up on how do we record things and how do we share things and so forth. So let it be known that 262s couldn't quite figure it out.
But we always find a way.
Oh, wait a minute. Are we going to talk about that today? I think we are. So, for the sake of the recording, I will state that I don't know you very well, Deanna. Somehow I saw you in Facebook over the years, and then I left Facebook for a while, and now I'm back, and I have some human design education now, and I'm just starting to talk to people who've been in the experiment a while. And then sometimes I have these little instincts like, ooh, I want to talk to so-and-so about something, or I'll just have a sense about somebody. So with you the other night, I had this sense about you, and I looked up your chart and I was like, oh, look at all that gate 60. And I was like, oh, where's the moon right now? Oh, it's in gate 60. so so that's
Yeah.
a short version of how we got here. Okay. um, so for the sake of me showing off our charts, can I show off our charts for a minute, and then I'm going to ask you to talk about you? All right,
Okay.
so let's try a screen sharing with this. Hey, look it, that's you. Okay,
Yeah,
6'2",
me.
splenic projector, you, and you're in Portugal. Are you in Porto or somewhere near there?
Yes, yes, I'm up north. Yes,
Okay,
near Porto.
okay. And I'll point out here that you have a hanging 43. Yeah. And I'm going to go to my chart now. Let's see if I can do that. I'm a 6'2", splenic manifestor, and I have a hanging 23. So we're here today on the second line of the, I don't remember if the sun or the earth is in 43, the other one's in 23. So,
Yes, 2023.
okay, we're set up. The program set us up, okay? So I'll stop that share for now because I want to ask you to tell me about you from your voice. I'm going to stop talking for a while. And, you know, the things that I would love to hear about first is like you were born and then at some point you became a mother. So before we get into the
Yeah.
human design part of this, I'd like to hear just about your life outside of human design. You were born in Portugal, you became a mother in Portugal. You want to tell me anything about those
Yes, yes.
times? Okay.
Well, yes, I grew up here in Portugal. I studied arts.
Okay.
When I was studying art, I started to learn about astrology and tarot. Very soon, I knew that I wanted to have tools in order
Mm-hmm.
to guide other people, even though I didn't know that I was a guide by
Uh-huh.
nature.
Uh-huh.
But very soon, I started to work on myself and on getting knowledge. Knowledge was always a source of happiness for me. I've always
Mm-hmm.
been a great reader. I like very much to read books. So at about 28, I got pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
I became a single mom very soon. My boy was 5 months old when I became a single mom.
Oh,
Um,
okay, yeah.
yeah, because it wasn't perfect, the relationship. So I chose very soon to be a single mom. It was a choice. I knew what I was getting into.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and from then on, it's been how can I tell you, a lot of trying to make it in this world, in this generator world.
Mm-hmm.
8 hour job, uh, several different jobs in my life where I picked up many different skills. And I live with my mother also, who is a generator, who kind
Mm-hmm.
of always carry life with me. in the same house, in the same environment. And now my son is 12. I am now living alone with him, and my dog and my cat.
Nice.
And that's about it. Some years ago, I started to do part-time jobs at the same time that I do astrology and tarot readings. Very, very, to sum it up, that's it.
Okay, that is very concise. Congratulations. I'm not so good at being so concise, but I appreciate that. So, because I do want to hear about your mundane life, right? We're going to get into mundane and mystical in this conversation, right? We know we're going there. So let's talk about where you were. How old was your son? Okay, well, let me mention, you had your son when you were in your third line phase of the sixth line life, right? Yeah. Yes. So there was going to be a bond that was going to be broken, and you decided it wasn't going to be with your son, it was going to be with the father of your son. Okay.
Yes. And it was very hard to me to get to the roof. I only got to the roof about 33, because it was very hard, and people were trying to keep me in the third stage, friends and all the people who knew the crazy Diana, because a 6, when he's until he gets on the roof, I mean, at least for me, it was crazy. It was really crazy. So
you're saying your third line phase, you're saying things were crazy in your 20s?
Yeah, 20s, and until I got to the roof, even after I had my son, and I had my mother who kind of helped me to look after him, I still done really crazy stuff. I mean, I look at the past and I'm like, wow, I don't even recognize myself, because I really dove into the first step. I wanted to try, I wanted to experiment a lot, and being with all kinds of people, and that was something that I thought that I was here to do. I was always very aware of the need to experiment, but I have the 41st gate in my personality sense, so that kind of emotional experience, something new, that was always a hunger for something new. Even though I was not aware of the keynotes, I was aware of the energy in my life, always trying to meet new people who can bring me new stuff and new emotions and new experience. I really lived that to the fullest. So getting on the roof was like, I just did it because I was very tired. I couldn't keep up with it. I was tired physically. I was tired of always being that chase of something new, something more exciting, more exhilarating, because I really I lived it to the fullest. So then I got to the roof, and there was still some pressure, always a lot of pressure inside me to change and to leave more stuff, because I always had the sense that I'm here on a mission, that I have something to do. It's I remember being very young and looking at the mirror and thinking to myself that I wanted to be a model for other people. I don't know how to explain that even till today, but I was always very aware that I was here for something very clear that until now I don't know what it is, because my life is very cool and relaxed and nothing really happens. I'm just in my everyday life, always the same. I still have that pressure that something like something big is to happen, that I can't really point what is, but I'm kind of waiting to see how things go.
Okay. You mentioned you didn't get up onto the roof. This is just vocabulary between 6-2s, but that's fine, because I don't have a clear boundary at age 30 either. I was married in my middle 20s. And the first real crack in the marriage was when I was 31. And then by 35, I was divorced. Okay. So it's not real clear to me. It's not like I got out of that right away, but it was a powerful pull. He was a 5-2 Clarion. And so we have the same incarnation cross, same second line body. And we had such a great setup in our life, material life together. I think we both thought, we've got to work on this. I mean, we could fix this. We would, and it's really only,
I understand it.
You can imagine that. So it's really only now looking back that I can say there was no way that was going to last, because I met him too soon, and I was gonna break bonds with stuff I did in my 20s, no matter what. So it was as good as it could get. Like, I had a very exciting 20s as well. But it couldn't ever stay the same, even though it was awesome. So
we always look for a soulmate, right?
Well, that's a 6-2 thing.
For a soulmate.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe he wasn't your soulmate.
No,
you kind of sensed it.
No, but he was like a sibling. He was born on April 9th. I was born on April 10th. We had all of, some similar things. But anyway, so now I want to ask you about when you did meet human design. Okay. And there's different stages to that. You meet design, and then at some point you actually start following strategy. At some point you actually get some education. So let's just start with meeting design, wherever that was. And I'm going to step away for just a moment and be right back. What age when you met design?
Okay. Yeah, I was yesterday. I went to look for an email because I met design through an American.
Okay.
His name is Brooke Kiefer. And it was someone who was into numerology. And I kind of started to speak to him, and it was on November 20th of 2014 that he told me that I was a projector. And it was very important that I knew that I was a projector. And I'm like, I immediately I started to search for the information because I'm curious. And I started to read, and I'm like, I'm a guide, I don't have energy. And I'm like, no, this is not for me. So the first impression was like, no, I don't think that I miss energy, because I was so used to always ride on other people's energy, and I was such a powerful amplifier that I couldn't really understand what that is. So it took me about a year and a half to really start to trust the information and start living it. That's when I got a professional analyst to do my chart here in Porto, in person, which is Evelina, and she's great. She's also a projector, which is good because we speak the same language. That's when I started to really experiment, because at that point I was very bitter. I was
you noticed that.
I was so bitter. I didn't feel recognized by anyone, and then I have an undefined throat, so I talked and people got bored of me. Some people enjoyed it very much because I give undefined throats give a lot of attention to each other, like to the other person. So some people really enjoyed it, but at the same time, I noticed that there were people who couldn't stand me. And now I see why, because I really, so I had such a thirst of being recognized that I really forced things. So I went from one point to the opposite. I stopped being so going after life, but I stopped it like it was a full stop. I had to really live in a way that I didn't search or chase for anything, in order to right now find a middle ground. Right now, I mean, 5 years now on my experiment. Now I can really know when my spleen speaks to me, but it took me quite some time to know when it is the spleen that's speaking and not my head. Right now I know when the speak. I already hear. I know that if I rationalize after, I'm going to lose the information. So right now, at this point of the experiment, I've changed so much. Like, I'm in all sorts of human design groups. I never speak. I just listen. I read a lot. I judge a lot too, but I think that's something that an undefined throat does, because I'm always trying to understand if that is if that has value or not. All the things people talk. Yeah, I rarely speak or give any kind of comment. But I read a lot. I'm always on top of things. I'm very interested in what other people say.
Somehow I
But
noticed
it's
that.
very,
Somehow I noticed that you're there, but you're not speaking. And
yeah,
that is really like, I've heard this before, but it's like, it's so true that you not speaking makes you noticed, and it makes you it makes somebody like me curious. And I don't know how to describe that any better, but I do understand it's kind of the ideal for those with open throats to let themselves be seen to talk. And so awesome.
yeah. But the experiment taught me that the more that I speak, the more that I try for people to notice me, it works the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I do it in everything. I never speak first
Mm-hmm.
in all things in my life. I'm always, if even if I'm really interested, I
Mm-hmm.
know that if I start something, it won't work out. I'll ruin it, even if it has potential for something good. If I
Mm-hmm.
try to force anything, it will
Mm-hmm.
be ruined. So why should I? It's like shooting myself in the foot.
Well,
So
yes, there's many projectors out there that are ready to learn that from somebody. Maybe they'll hear you in this video and get a little step up on their thing. I don't know, but that's amazing to me that you've seen that so relatively quickly in your experiment. Now, something about being a projector in that situation is that you have this aura that is so awesome and is contributing to the situation even without your talking, and your sixth line frequency is there as well. Do you notice any difference in that practice of yours between being online or being in aura with people? Is it any different?
it is different, as in when you're in aura, you go further, okay? Because I sense things. But even though I'm online, it works the same way. I
Mm-hmm.
can really, I make the connections that I have to. I get the information that I have to. My spleen still speaks when it has to, and I
Mm-hmm.
still listen. But auric connection is another thing. Like when I'm doing a tarot reading,
Mm-hmm.
I read tarot for people from other countries. There are people who I never met, but having the person in my table, taking the cards, it's a different experience, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a uh, it's different. I don't
Mm-hmm.
exactly know how to explain it, but there's something more.
Mm-hmm.
It's broader, it's wider. Uh, but I still do my job, and I still give information. And I have to be honest, I'm a bit tired of being a guide. I'm telling all people that I'm stopping, and people are getting very crazy that I tell them that I'm going to stop, because that's one of the things that I see as a projector, is that people kind of get used to the guidance and then think they need it, and it
This is
bothers me.
interesting. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So
it bothers me a bit. Yeah.
And I'd like to hear more about that then. So I'm assuming that you're talking about tarot, you're doing it professionally.
Yeah, and
So that's
astrology.
in
Yeah.
astrology. So those are two things that you do online and in Aura for money. Mm-hmm. And
Yes,
then, but
yes.
okay. But then you
I've
said that.
never really. I don't publicize. I don't do publicity
Mhm,
as a projector. Each time that I try to publicize my work, it's been I have to give a lot of energy, and I never
mhm,
get anything in return. I'm not
uh-huh.
saying that it doesn't work for some projectors. Okay, I'm not. I don't say that I have any kind of secret information here,
Mhm.
because I see a lot of projectors like really doing marketing, and I don't
Marketing,
know.
yeah.
Maybe it works for them. For
Mhm.
me, never worked. It's
Yeah.
always energy that I just spend, and I get nothing in return. For me, what works is I do a good job. Some person likes it, is going that person is going to tell a friend,
Yeah.
and brings some new person, and that the person brings another friend, and that's how I've always worked, and I don't spend any amount of energy because my work speaks for itself.
Mhm.
Who are kind of connected to the energy, they end up aligned with me, and I don't
Mhm.
have to do anything, and that's
Mhm.
fine by me because I have limited amount of energy. So the least that I do, the best for me.
Indeed, indeed. Um, well, I don't know that advertising has done any good for me either, but I can't, that's a whole nother subject. My first profession was law, and that's a long ways away. And now it's a whole new world where I can't meet people at a cafe because it's not that world anymore. And I don't even live those places anymore. But anyway, another story. But when you said that you're told people that you're going to do less guiding, do you mean that as a professional guide, like a living your design guide, or do you mean okay, well, or
uh,
do you mean in a
I
more
started,
projector way? You're
yeah,
gonna
in a projector way.
yeah
These are tools.
yeah
Doesn't matter which tools a projector chooses to guide. Okay, maybe
mm-hmm,
it can be human design. It can be, there's tons of it out there. You have
mm-hmm.
to find the tool that suits you, and then you do your guidance. I tell you, I don't like doing tarot. I
Okay.
found out that I don't like it because it's very limiting. People really get focused on that information, and they can see it from a broad perspective. I don't want people to just see it as an ending story, like I'm telling them what's going to happen. So I don't like it. But those are tools.
Uh-huh.
Human design is just another tool.
Uh-huh.
But because when you're a guide, you can guide with any kind of tool, right? Doesn't matter what.
Interesting. Okay, that's I hadn't thought of it this way, but I'm seeing what you're saying when they say that projectors need systems, and so you're saying
Yeah,
any of
it's
those
a
systems
system.
are a system that you use. Somebody has come to you for some reason,
Yes,
and it's not
yeah, that's
necessarily the
it.
reason that they think in their head, but there you are, and you cannot help but be there in recognizing that person, and
Yeah,
especially.
because sometimes
Mhm.
it's just something that you say, something correct at the right time,
Yeah.
and it does the job. You
Yes.
don't need, yeah.
Uh-huh. I hear you there. Okay, well then let's talk about astrology and human design. So you had astrology in your life before human design, and I don't know how much. Do you want to tell me what it was like with an astrology background meeting human design? And then I assume you had some time where you had to kind of distinguish the two, right? So
Oh,
you want to tell
yes,
me about
they're
that?
very different.
Uh-huh. Okay, I'd love to hear
Yeah, I'll
about
be
that.
happy to. Astrology, right now that I have a human design perspective, I see astrology as limiting, small.
Also,
Uh,
yeah.
and also something that I see, and that probably astrologers who also are into human design won't like to hear me, but I think astrology is a lot the science of the not self, because
Continue.
uh,
Mhm.
yeah, because there's a lot there that kind of confirms the information of the not self. Like there's people that in astrology have a lot of water, and I'd say you are a very emotional person. But then right now, I always I always do the HD chart. And some of those people are not really emotional. They just have an undefined solar plexus, so they are like amplifying other people's emotions. So I get information that doesn't fit from astrology and human design. Okay, I know of some people that do a great job in kind of connecting information. There are sometimes when the information really flows, and that's great, but it doesn't happen all the time. Okay, astrology many times is going to give more strength to the not self. Okay, and I see it sometimes. When people come to me to get an astrology analysis, I have to give information according to astrology. I can't really, because in human design I've been as far as cartography, so I have not the education needed in order to do a reading. Never would do that unless I really study all the years that it takes to really do an analysis. So when people come to me for astrology, I have to respect the information that I have there. And sometimes it pains me to know that I'm kind of giving strength to the not self of that person, okay? Because it happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I have to be, that's why I tell you, these are tools, okay? Maybe that person really needs to hear that not self information. And who am I to tell? If I can't judge.
Interesting. Yeah, exactly.
That person is coming to me to receive that information. So I have to give it to them because it's the tool that I'm using, and I have to do a proper analysis according to what I've studied. So that's kind of it. But human design takes things way further than astrology. And I studied in a very serious way astrology, and also in human design. I'm also studying in a very serious way. But I can see that many times it doesn't fit.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk specifically about seeing the black and the red in human design. But first, I'll just comment on something that sounds familiar. What you were saying is you have this system in astrology, and somebody came to you to get an answer. And even though you can see that there's maybe something different for them in human design, you have to give them what they came for, so to speak, because that's what they're asking for. That's where their mind and their awareness is at. So for me, having the law background, something that I got to figure out pretty quickly was that people were actually coming to talk to me about all kinds of things that weren't really related to their legal issues so much. And now I'm at a point in human design where I have the guide certificate, but that's, guide certificate. And I have cartography, so I have that, but I'm not an analyst either. So I'm in a similar position, and then I feel kind of limited in what I can put out there. But that sense that it's not up for me to tell this person about human design. I'm not sure if my role isn't different because I'm a manifestor.
It probably is very different. And I have a specific question to make for you.
Please.
When I saw your chart, I don't know if it's the right time, but I have a specific question. That is, what does it feel like to have a voice to your 57th gate? Because I have the 57 twice, but it leads nowhere.
Okay, let's look at that.
Pointed to your throat, so you have a voice to your intuition.
Yes, so there's a picture of me that way. Let's see, let me find a different one. So there's me. So you're looking at the fact that I have a connection from 54 all the way up to 20. And if we look at yours, you have 2 57s and no 20. Well, I guess I have a voice that people hear. I mean, people are telling me about my voice a lot lately. And so all I can say is I've always been a speaker. Like, you know, I was in speech and drama and theater in high school and things like that. And I've never had issues getting up in front of people to talk about a topic. Of course, I used to think that I had to have it all in my mind perfectly before I could say things. And now I'm understanding that it's not about that. It is about being as present as possible. And if I'm as present as possible, then something will come out and it will be real. Or I might just not have anything to say. I might just laugh about how I don't have anything to say. Okay, so
because the 57th gate is very it's very intuitive. It's an intuition, right? It's the clearing of something. And for me, sometimes I have that intuition, but I can't really place it into words. But
I see, it's your Pluto's. Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, interesting, because we're going to talk about Pluto today too.
Yeah, so but you have it right pointed at the throat, so that must be a whole different experience that I have with it. Because for me, it's always something that sometimes I just can't really express. It's a knowing, but there's no way to really get it out there.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a knowing that's not meant for manifestation by you in words. But you know, then check it out. You've got the transmitter channel. You know, I have just these hanging 44s, and you have that whole channel, but you're 44 unconscious. So anything you can say about that? No.
Yeah, when I know that I could sell my mother if I wanted to. It's that kind of expression. It's a horrible one.
You could sell your mother another, right? Okay, in the sense that the transmitter is about the material plane. It's about
and we can sell anything. The thing is, I have very high moral values, and so the kind of selling business, I can only really transmit information when it is something that I truly believe in, that I see that has true value to someone. So I know that I really can transmit an idea or a product or whatever. I know that I really have the strength to do it, but I really have to be very connected to the product or to the idea in order to use that ego strength. Other way, I just don't use that energy. But like human design, when I got to know it, when I really got to know it, I started to spread it all over. I do charts for people who are interested in the coffee, like moms with who I have coffee with in the morning. And I started to, if someone shows interest, I'm there. I'm kind of selling the knowledge so that people can get out of the not self. Because as a projector, it's what Ross said. Look at all those children who don't know what they're doing, all that energy, and they're kind of throwing it away because they don't know how to focus the energy in the right way for them. So I'm always kind of trying to get people to, if I see that the door is open and that the person really is wants the information, because as I told you, I don't force anything anymore. But if I see it, there are some specific ideas or products that when I do believe it, I'm there to share the message, and I know that that person is going to be transformed for getting that information. As a 6-2, I see that I transform people a lot. It just happens.
Okay, so let's talk about transforming projectors, okay? So one, I want to, well, maybe I'm going to get into too many questions here. Having your open throat, in my experience with another 6-2 projector professional, his ability to hear me, like hear my frequency, is like, now a few generators, a few pure generators have given me surprising, like, "Ooh, you heard that." Okay, do you want to say anything about that, about your ability to hear other people?
Oh yeah, because I
Did
hear
you know
lots
that
of
before?
things.
Did you know that before human design?
I was more aware after I knew about human design, but I've always been a good listener, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always read between the lines. Sometimes people
Mm-hmm.
don't speak what they feel.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. Many people smile when they want to cry.
Mm-hmm.
Many people say they are okay and they're not. And when, especially it works when I'm, aura, but sometimes I'm online, I'm speaking to someone and I'm making the right question in order to find out what's really happening to that person. Because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like a bit of a superpower that how it happens or how 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 we get that information, but it kind of just happens, and I
Mm-hmm.
use it. I being more aware or less aware because I wasn't so aware before, but there's it's something that I'm always using
Mm-hmm.
when I'm speaking with people. That frequency behind the words or in the energy that that person is kind of
Yes.
emanating.
And that doesn't matter what language they're speaking in. You speak English well, you speak Portuguese, maybe another language, but it doesn't matter what language they're speaking in for that to be clear.
No,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
something that it's not related to words even. It's something
Mm-hmm.
more subtle,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hard to really place it into words because
Yeah.
that is kind of vague. It's
Yeah.
energy. How can you give word?
Yeah.
Uh, it's very difficult to really place it into words. It's something that kind of, as a projector, I've always I know that I pierce other people's energy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel that there's energy that I really don't want to get into. And
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing that that person tells me. It's just something that I feel and that I have to really listen to, because it's true. As a projector, I can feel that when I'm with the wrong person, I get out of that aura feeling dirty,
Yeah,
feeling
feeling
like
dirty.
I did
Mm-hmm.
something rotten.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what. The more I experiment, the more I am aware of that kind of energies that I don't see, but I sense,
Uh-huh.
and that I receive it. Either I like it or not, I receive it. That's why I've been, as a two, I'm a hermit, but I see that I've been more and more of a hermit. I
Yeah.
keep to myself and keep in my home more and
Yeah.
more as the
Yeah.
time goes by. More of a
Mm-hmm.
hermit I am. And that's
Yeah.
because of that, because it's very hard to find energies that are really clean and that I can really, how do I say it, eat
Yeah,
in energy that I
exactly.
can eat.
Literally
Yeah,
energy you can eat. Yeah,
yeah,
that is true. And we're going to talk more about that hermiting. Um, it comes to mind too that we both have these unconscious second line bodies, and even though it's going to be a little different with your aura and my aura, we get called out to do things, so to speak. And in our 20s, for both of us, I'm sure so much of it was like unconsciously body getting called out to do things that we weren't really aware of, and we didn't really connect how we felt, or we didn't really see how much other auras and pentas and that whole thing can affect us. So we spend a night with 50 different people, and then the next day we're not really the same because we're still dealing with all kinds of energetic stuff. And
yeah. Yeah, I remember when I went out with my friends, I was always the craziest one. I
uh-huh.
was always someone who really took things to extremes. And in the next day, they were all ready to go to the coffee. I'd stay all day in bed just to get ready for Monday. Because if I didn't stay all day in bed alone, like cleaning myself up, I didn't even got up on Mondays. But at that point, I just thought, okay, you can't keep up. I wasn't aware that I was a projector. I wasn't aware that I was riding on other people's energies.
Exactly.
So it was all very. I didn't have any kind of awareness about it. But now that I look back, and I say, oh my God.
Yeah, I hear you.
Really
So
crazy.
I want to, before we get into Pluto and gate 60, I do want to ask you about human design education specifically, okay? Because there's plenty of projectors online on Facebook. You're watching them all the time, I know. And I'm sure that you are seeing that the majority of them don't have any basic human design education. And okay, I'll ask you what you see about that, but will you tell me when you started education, like LYD, and what you did next, and how that changed your experiment?
Long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm studying with Mary Oliveira from Human Design Brazil, which is she's a generator.
Yeah.
She's great. She's great. She's really great. And it was Guida, which is a Portuguese lady, very who is now doing a wonderful job of translating many of us material into Portuguese, and we really do need it. And so was Guida that kind of helped me, because I'm always counting changes in my pocket. And Guida really helped me, because we made a trade. And she told me, you do astrology for me and for my family, and I'll help you to pay living your design. So that's how I started it. It was by invitation, as it should be me. Yeah.
This is what
And
I wanted
so
to
I
ask.
started,
Yeah. Invitation for a
because
projector to start the education.
yes, it was by invitation. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it, because even though I am very into my experiment, and I want to live my design, and I work to live my design, and I'm very aware of it, the truth is I never forced the study part, because I couldn't. Why should I? Why should I when I already know what I know? So things just worked out, and I started my studies. I now finished cartography. On Wednesday, PTL is starting.
You're starting PTL on Wednesday. Congratulations.
I'm not sure yet.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm not sure yet. Because there's been a lot of information passing for me as to, because as a projector, when I start to study, I really dive in. So my mind gets in the way. I really want to live my design. The more I know, the more I'm stuck in details. The things that you posted a while ago, just this week, like it was a video that I saw also. The thing is, when I really get to the deep studies, I start losing sense of living it in a broad way. And it all comes down to strategy and authority. That's it. I don't need all that information. And like, I'm in a stage of life. Maybe it's just a phase. Maybe it will change. But really, right now, I don't feel like being a guide. I don't feel like and really studying human design. I have to do something with that knowledge in the future, right? I'm not.
Feels
I'm
like a
not
pressure.
a donkey with books. I don't want to just have knowledge just by having it. So I'm really doubtful if I should continue my studies or not. I have to be honest. Not because I don't love the teacher or the knowledge, because I really do, but because I don't want that much information to mess with my experiment.
Interesting. Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Totally. I do. There have been times where I've wanted to just not even talk about human design at all, which is totally cool.
That's
But
it.
I see that with you, and especially with your experience, what you've said right now is that you're already telling people you don't want to put out guiding energy. So you're into your life, and maybe Pluto's helping
Because
you.
yeah, who knows? Yeah,
You
Pluto
know?
on gate 60.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Should we go there now? Do you want to go there?
Limitations. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to pull up share screen again because I made a few slides about this. So there's Diana. Let's see here. So part of what brought about this conversation was that I just noticed that I noticed you in your chart when the moon was in 60 and Pluto's in 60, and I noticed these 60s in your chart, and I was like, huh, what's up with that? And of course, for me personally, I have gate 3 as my south design node, so that gives me that channel right now until June, middle of June. And then again, when Pluto comes back in January 22, it'll be there for 3 years. So I think that I'm noticing that I have different kinds of energy. I'm making videos, I'm doing a lot. I'm also having like random crying in the middle of the afternoon for no reason. And also like a lot of horizontal time, more napping than I've ever done. So I'm not so sure that that's not related to Pluto being there, So when I saw all of
The
that,
pressure. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm going to share this slide. People can read this. You're reading it. These are words from Mary Ann. So you have a background with Pluto beyond human design, and I'll call on that if you think it's relevant. I trust you to distinguish your astrology from your human design in this case,
Yes,
but
yes, I do.
Pluto is a planet and it affects us humans here on Earth, right? So this is
Yes.
kind of the big stage of Pluto, all right? And then getting into the specific gate, this is from the Ray Ching, some language from the IHDS. And we'll go for one more. I'll show all the lines here. Yeah. And I put the language for line 1 in particular because it's the foundation of line 60, right? It's the real core message right there. So I wanted to put that there. And so going back to what Mary Ann was saying, she's saying Pluto is bringing this change to us, right? And she wrote these words like earlier this year when we had close to a year of COVID related limitations being imposed on everyone, right? How it affects everyone is different, right? And that's something I want to get into because for some people, a limitation becomes an opportunity, right? And something new happens. And if you keep staring at the limitation, then it's just a roadblock that you're staring at, right? So why do I share all of this? Well, let's go back to your chart. You have gate 60, line 6 as your personality moon and line 3 as your Mercury. So I had some sense that maybe I could talk to you about line 60, about gate 60. And apparently I queued you up to dream about it all night.
Yeah, I dreamt about it all night. It was like a chatting, and I was
Okay.
really annoyed about it.
Okay,
I
but
remember
now
to
it can
wake up
come
really
all out.
annoyed.
It's all coming out now. I've got a 23 over here. The
Yes.
program's opened you up. What can you tell us about gate 60?
Oh,
Limitation,
that I'm very
accepting it.
aware. Yeah, I'm very aware of gate 60 in my life. All
Okay.
my life, I was aware of that pressure of limitation. It's been sometimes even crushing my will.
It can do
Very
that.
depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very much, because I've always wanted to go further than life allows. I always
Uh-huh.
feel like life has a plan for me and it doesn't let me stray away from the path that it has for me.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what I want. And limitation really I was several years blaming people, blaming family, blaming all kinds of things out there, because I really didn't accept it. I've done what I do was really, I compare with other people's lives, like, all is so easy for other people. How they don't have limitations,
Uh-huh.
and that's really a lousy a lousy job to do to oneself, because we someone who has gauge 60 in the personality, like I have, because I'm very aware of that energy, can't really do that, because it's very depressing if you really allow that energy to take over you. It's crushing, really, because there's that's why when you tell I cry, when you speak that you are crying right now with age 60, I've done that all the time. That kind of crying, that's kind of that anger crying, that release crying
Mm-hmm.
of it's not fair, that kind of feeling. Right now, I accept my limitations. I really
Mm-hmm.
do, and I'm not where I'm supposed to be. But it's always a path. It's always something that you work through time.
What do you mean
But
you're somewhere? What do you mean you're somewhere you're not supposed to be? Come on, do you mean that?
the more time passes, the more I feel like I'm aligned with myself.
Okay,
And
there you
I
go.
look
Okay.
back, yeah, that's it. I
You
look
are where
back,
you're
I
supposed to
don't
be.
have, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But
I
I
heard I
know
heard.
that I'm going a lot deeper into myself. As time goes by, the more I get to
Mhm.
know myself, because I'm more aware. And the more I get to know myself, the more I live as I am. But
Mhm.
it's a path, it's a journey. And I'm very aware that I'm very far away from where I'm supposed to be. When I hear
Okay, so
Mary Ann telling that she finally loves herself, I'm not there yet.
uh-huh.
Like,
Okay.
I know that I'm not there yet.
Uh-huh.
Like, I know that it's something that evolves with time.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
Well,
that's what I was trying to tell you.
it's funny for me to hear a 6-2 say that you're not where you're supposed to be, as if there was somewhere else for you to be right now, honey. You're right here. You are supposed to be
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
no, perfect where I am, but
Uh-huh.
I could be, I could be somewhere. It's open G, it's undefined G talk. I
Oh
know
yeah,
that.
well, I have that too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm always thinking that there's somewhere else where I would be way better than where I am now. Like
Uh-huh.
there, the feeling, because it's kind of that. Uh, an undefined G doesn't know where it's supposed to be. It just kind of lives uh, in the environment where it is in the moment. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah,
I
I
want
only
to,
have.
I'm just going to pick up line 3 here because, yeah, let's see. Oh, and then there was another one. I'm going to go back to do we have line 6? Yeah. So on the one hand, oh, maybe this isn't a good segue. I thought I was hearing you say this, but now I'm seeing a little different. But I'm guessing that you can say that you've had times where you've ignored limitations and paid the price.
Oh yeah, 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 very much. I've
Uh-huh.
always tried to like step over limitation. I've always thought that I
Mm-hmm.
should do that, and
Mm-hmm.
even people around me who kind of gave more strength to that idea that you should do anything, something about it. You should change your life. You should, and
Yeah.
it really brings much pressure and brings a lot of pain, because there's nothing you can do with grade 60. It is what it is. You really you have to accept it. Right now, I feel like I've accepted a little bit more, but not totally.
Yeah,
But
well,
it's not an easy energy. It's not.
no. And part of why I'm asking you to tell us about it is because the whole planet's going to be going through this. This is an evolution in humanity, and you've had this time with it. So you've had line 3 in your Mercury, and then line 6 in your Moon. And so I wonder if you can say also, because you do have the detriment here, do you see yourself as accepting constraint, limitation really severely? Do
Yeah, sometimes sometimes I tell my friends that I live in how do you say it in English? In a nun's place,
yeah,
like
a
yeah,
nunnery, yeah,
yeah,
a
and I
convent.
feel it. Yes,
Uh-huh.
that's it, and I really feel that I do. I
Yeah.
kind of shut everything out, even relationships, and I can live alone for years, like with no kind of relationship with men. I really feel the constraint, the rigidity, and I'm very strict with myself in order to really do what I think it's right. And people like, are you crazy? You're so young. You should leave. You should this. You should that.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
no, I have to be a very because it's like an inner feeling that if I do what is right,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be aligned what is right for me, and it will
Mm-hmm.
come to me. And if
Mm-hmm.
I go search and try to step out of the boundaries that life gives me, usually I always regret myself. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I feel really that rigidity, that conservatism
Mm-hmm.
is very, very strong inside me. And people
Mm-hmm.
see that in me also, that like um, people think that that I'm very extreme in the way that I live my life, but
Uh-huh.
I really don't know any way else to
Exactly,
be.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, is there anything that you would relate between being a mother and having somebody living dependent on you that way and those practices? Do you think maybe
Yeah,
that's even
yeah.
helped you? Could you say that it's been?
It's helped me because it took me away from a lot of troubles. I see it. Like
Mm-hmm,
uh, some years ago, I had a sick mom. My mother was always very depressive, very sick. So she was my limitation, I thought,
uh-huh.
because I will always be very close to my home. If something happens, I have to be close. I have to do this, that. Then my mother goes to a nursing home, and now it's because I'm a single mom. So my son
Right.
needs me.
Ah,
So
yeah. That shows up in gate
it
60,
doesn't
doesn't it? It's
matter.
like you
It
can give up
doesn't
one
matter. Yeah,
limitation. You can literally, in that line 3, you can break the bond with the limitation. Your mom goes away, but then there's a different limitation. Uh-huh. You never really get
something
away
new.
from the limitation until you accept it.
No, never, never.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Even my mother going to a nursing home. Oh my God, that was so. It was like a birth of an elephant, like 2 years. No, a lot more because she really wanted to hold on to me, and it had to be some very serious health needs for her in order for her to accept that she had to go, and also for me. So, but there she went, and I thought, no, my life will get uh, um,
Uh-huh.
lighter. No,
Uh-huh.
it hasn't. Now
Uh-huh.
I have less money because I don't have anyone to help me with the
Yeah.
bills, and I have more responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So limitation is still here. I
Yeah.
know that probably when my son gets older, it doesn't matter. He can move. Something new will, will happen in order
Uh-huh.
for me to be limited and bound. And that's
Uh-huh.
kind of how my life is. And I really just have to accept it,
Yeah.
even though I don't like it.
Well, when you smile and laugh so much, it makes it really nice for us to hear about it, at least, you know. And that's got to be part of why I invited you to talk about this, because I think there's a bigger sense that that even as COVID restrictions may loosen and things may change, that, well, cross-sub planning's going away. Our ability to count on things is going away. Our ability to count on people like and systems supporting us is going away. So we don't really know what our limitations are going to be, but they're obviously being imposed and coming from all different directions. And well, most of us don't have the experience that you have of seeing them right in your personality, right there in your chart, and then going, okay, well, how does my life work? Okay, because 60 is something for all of us. It's not only people that have it imprinted in their design. It just means that it's on for you and you get to talk about it more. I'm going to go back to something that, some words from Mary Ann here. So I think if I go here, so this is a rather long excerpt. Are you able to read it on the screen?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so this sounds really familiar to what you said. Oh, she's a 6'2" also, isn't she? She's a 6'2"
Yes, she is.
generator.
That's why I told her.
With the cross of the alpha, like yourself, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So here she does talk about strategy and authority being the beginning of the acceptance, right? So you've had over 5 years or so of practicing with your authority. You've come to a really admirable place about it from my perspective, because you're not selfing your words all over the place. You're not clamoring for attention in that way. You did step out of normal life. Yeah. And and you're there and you're smiling about it. So her last line, she says, we end up accepting life as it is, and we surrender to being taken on this ride. Yeah. So you talked about some dreams. Does any of the stuff that came up in your dream relate to this, or do you want to share anything more from the dream?
No, I just woke up and being still in a chat with myself, like,
okay.
How are you going to talk about gate 60 if you are yourself?
Oh.
Still, after all these years, you can't really handle gate 60, because that's the truth. I live with some degree of inner peace, and but it still bothers me. I have to be honest. The limitations in my life still bothers me a lot. So I really only accept it to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
I have not transcended limitation. No,
well, but that's But isn't that exactly what it says? That you're saying that you're accepting, though. I mean, you are saying that, and I don't hear you battling.
No, because in my regular life, I just do what has to be done. I don't really. I'm not angry. I don't live bitter about it. Even I just do what I have to do. But even so, I dream about what I wanted to be doing.
Yes. Okay. Yes, absolutely.
It's not easy for me to really get outside of that, because it's like life hasn't recognized me yet. And I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about life. Like I have the kind of inner knowing that I'm not being used as I should by the world. Like I have something to be doing here, and I'm not doing it. Why all these limitations? Why
Interesting.
the universe wants me so protected in such a small little life, when I know that I should be doing something? It's that kind of pressure that I feel. Not that I think that I'm some kind of messiah, because I know that I'm not, but it's like the pressure to know that there's something to be done, and that I came here to do something. And like, what are you waiting for, universe, to really kind of align me to that, because my life is so dull. Like, wake up in the morning, get the kid to school, work, clean, take the dog out, take the garbage out, clean again, make
Uh-huh.
make dinner, go to sleep, and do it all over again.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm going to share just a little picture about this then too, because we talked about it the other day. So I just
Mm.
made a slide about it. So so I've had a really exciting life in the last years, right? Like I've lived a lot of places. It's been retarded. I mean, like it's been difficult not knowing where I'm going to live in a couple months for several years in a row. Okay. But now I am in one place. Okay. And it barely has running water and it doesn't have a washing machine. And so now I'm really getting into washing clothes. It's just like something that has to be done. And even when I went to pay to have my clothes washed, half of them got lost by the laundry lady. So I can't afford to have her
Oh,
lose any more of my
yeah.
clothes.
It's best to really do it yourself.
But it's not.
Yeah, that's it.
And so
That's it.
this is luxury for most of the world. I know that. I mean, for me to have to wash my laundry is feels like a limitation because I've always had the material comfort of laundry machines. You know, I've always lived that level of life, right? But now I'm happier than ever. I get to live alone. I'm really peaceful. But I have to wash clothes and so and I don't know if that's ever going away. I don't know if I'm ever going to have more money. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to the point of owning a washing machine again. You know, I just don't know, but I'm accepting that for now. And I really appreciate what you were saying about, I mean, your mundane life is repetitive to you, but you see what Mary Ann's saying here, right? That what I the way I look at this quote is that it's like time to get into our mundane life, right? Because the external things are getting so untrustable. We can't go forward with culture the way we used to. We can't trust
No,
systems
not
are
at
going to
all.
work, but we
Yeah.
are always going to have a mundane life. That's never going away. We're
Yeah,
always
we
going to
have
have dirty
to.
underwear to
Yeah,
wash.
exactly.
If we're lucky, we have underwear to
Material
wash.
world. Yes,
Maybe
yes.
we don't have underwear to wash, but then we're really
Yeah,
not lucky. And we're
but
not
that's
talking about
it.
human.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. It's like we live in a body, and the body has needs. It
Mm-hmm.
needs to be taken care of, washed, clean clothes, and that's kind of what we get into. I thought that was gate five, because I have my Neptune in gate five.
Oh, me
Um,
too. Wait
like,
a minute.
yeah,
Do you have two Neptunes in gate 5 like I do?
no, just one. I just
Okay.
have one of my The other is in gate 26. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I have Neptune on
Oh, there
gate
you
five.
go. Ah, oh no,
Yeah,
that's mine and that's you. Okay. Oh, are
yeah.
you a
I
little bit
had just
older or younger than me? We got to be similar. Huh, interesting. Anyway.
Yeah, Neptune is very slow. It's
Yeah.
very slow to move, so we can have a few time between us and still have the same gates. It's that slow. But
Yeah.
yeah, so and gate five, line six is yielding. Like you should,
Yielding. Ah, uh-huh.
yeah, like you should really follow the rhythms and do it every day and accept.
Uh-huh.
It's the same. I feel it's very close to the energy of gate 60, at least inside my life. I mean,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
because even there, I have to really accept everyday rhythms,
Mm-hmm.
even though
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. But
Mm-hmm.
that's it. And I really
Mm-hmm.
have to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, because mutation will happen when it has to, because I can scream, I can shout, I can really be angry. Doesn't make a
Mm-hmm.
difference. So that's it.
Well, interesting. Okay, so I've got gate 5s in Neptune, 2 of them, 5-4 and 5-5. But I don't understand Neptune. I don't understand what I'm supposed to
who does?
understand about the veiling. It's like this kind of like joke. We can't really talk about it.
Who does? It's very abstract. It's a very abstract planet. Even in astrology, it's hard to pin it. And we have several information about it. It's like in astrology is like a connection to the divine, to spirits, is where you found God inside and such. But it's very, because Neptune in astrology is also the perfect music, the perfect story, the perfect movie. It's like it's always a dream. Many times it's not really real in real life.
Yeah,
Things
okay.
don't happen as in dreams, right? So,
Yes.
so that's it. It's kind of something that seems perfect but never is. So he's also the great deceptor, someone who can deceive other people because can take a form. It's a shapeshifter. So it's not very easy to deal with Neptune in any way. And I think in human design, it works the same way, or I believe it works the same way. But I really feel the 5, even though it's in my design, and I could not be very, very aware of the importance of fixed rhythms in order for me to be balanced. That's why I have come to a certain level of acceptance of gate 5 and of gate 60. Because I see that it brings me balance, even though I don't like it, because I would like to be out there doing a lot more.
So for me, I've wondered, like the situation I'm in and the house I'm in, I've got a really great deal on this house, but right before I moved in, something happened with the water system. So basically there's no running water to the kitchen sink or the toilet. Okay, there's running water, but not to those 2 important things. Okay, but that said, I have like a 5-gallon jug and a cart with wheels. And so I carry about 10 gallons of water a day for the toilet and the kitchen sink. And it's kind of like I could work on it and I could get the landlord to fix it. But part of me says, Isa, you have so little that you have to do that way. Let yourself have those routines. Let yourself have that meditation time, because it's just where you are, and don't try to force it. When the money's there to fix the water, it'll happen. And between now and then, just stare. I go outside to the porch and I fill up the water. So it's kind of not bad. Same thing with the laundry. It's not bad. It's just kind of not letting my mind tell me.
That's real.
Yeah, it's real.
Some things do annoy us, but they're there for a reason. And it's something bigger than us. We really, that's what I see right now when I see, because I didn't choose to have my son. It was something that kind of happened.
Got called out of you.
It wasn't planned. Yeah, but that's it. Because I really didn't plan it. It was something that, and the way it happened was very strange, because I thought that I was sick, and then I went to have exams, and the doctors told me stop with the pill because there's something wrong with you, and I stopped with the pill, and 1 month later I was pregnant. It was like what? It was very strange. Yeah, it was so strange, because like, you're sick. No, I'm not sick. No, I got pregnant. Thank you. But like right now, I love my son, but as a projector, being a mother, it's very hard, because sometimes we don't even have energy for ourselves. Even more for a child. Like sometimes most of the days I just want to go to sleep without making dinner, but I have to, because I have a child to feed and I really have to do stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that when I look into all this, these kind of boundaries, these kind of limits really kept me going with a regular life. Because if I didn't have it, life would be much more chaotic. I didn't. I really wouldn't have this kind of organization that I have to have by being inside these limitations. It takes out of me energy and all of that, but also brings a balance to my life that I wouldn't have any other way. If it was
Yeah.
just me,
Uh-huh.
it wouldn't happen.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I hear you. Well, that's a really nice smile. That might be a good place for us to end this. Is there
Yeah.
anything else that you want to share with about your dream, or is there anything you want to
I
share with
wish I
your
could remember more,
Okay.
but
Well,
no, I just
maybe
wake
you'll
up
type
with
more
the
out.
feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I just wake up with the feeling that it was all night chatting with myself and with Gate 60.
Uh-huh.
But just wanted to thank you for giving me a chance to have a voice because I don't usually have one.
I hear you.
Um,
I hear you. Well, we might get to do this again. Is there anything you want to share with other projectors? If you have the stage here.
yeah, the projectors. I always struggle a lot to make projectors really respect their energy
Respect their
because
energy. Hmm.
yeah, because most of the projectors are out there still trying to be generators, even though they're not aware. I meet many beta projectors because they still have to work the 8-hour shift, and
Yeah.
I really recognize the struggle. Even me, right now, I'm getting ready to enter in a job in a big corporation, and I'm going
Really?
to work
Okay.
from yeah. As I told you, I decided to stop being a guide for
Well, I
money.
didn't know it was related to a job. Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I'm starting in a big corporation. I've been there before,
Hmm.
not in the same one, but in another one, so I know what I'm getting myself into.
Hmm.
Um, I am hoping that being aware can make a difference this time, but I know that I'm already feeling it. I'm still in training, and I
Hmm.
already feel the difference of the 8-hour shift. So that's it, projectors. Just be aware of your energy. Be aware of your own design
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Well,
strategy and authority
well,
really rules. It's so
yeah.
simple and it
Uh-huh.
works.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's a good place for me to press stop record. If you're comfortable with that, I'm going to do that. And
Yeah, I
I'll catch
am.
up with you a little bit later. This might be the first of more
Okay.
conversations. But yeah, thanks for sharing about your life. Thanks for sharing about Gate 60 and
Thank you,
sharing your
Erica,
smile. You know,
for
it's
sharing
really nice to
too.
have someone to smile with for a while. So I appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Namaste, amiga.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.